The studio lights blazed down on the familiar set of The View as Johnny Depp settled into the guest chair, his signature rings catching the light as he adjusted his jacket. The audience buzzed with excitement, phones already recording what they expected to be another charming celebrity interview. Whoopi Goldberg had just finished the introduction and the cameras were rolling live across the nation. So, Johnny Joy Behar began, her voice carrying that familiar edge that regular viewers knew all too well. Let's talk about your latest project. But first, I think we need to address the elephant in the room. Depp's eyebrows raised slightly, a practiced smile still playing on his lips. I'm sorry. Which elephant would that be, Joy? Oh, come on now. Don't play coy with us. Behar shot back, leaning forward in her chair. You know exactly what I'm talking about. Your recent legal troubles, the accusations, all of that mess that's been plastered across every tabloid for months. The other hosts shifted uncomfortably. Whoopi cleared her throat, clearly trying to steer the conversation elsewhere. Joy, maybe we should focus on the film. But Behar wasn't backing down. No, Whoopi. I think our viewers deserve some honesty here. Mr. Depp, how do you expect us to sit here and pretend like nothing happened? How do you expect your fans to just forget about all the allegations? Depp's smile faded, replaced by a look of genuine confusion. Joy, with all due respect, I came here to talk about my work, to connect with fans who've supported me for decades. I thought we were going to have a civilized conversation. Civilized? Behar laughed, but there was no humor in it. You want to talk about civilized? Let's talk about some of the things you've been accused of. Let's talk about the court cases, the drama, the chaos that seems to follow you everywhere you go. The studio audience had gone quiet, sensing the tension that was building like a storm cloud over the set. Depp straightened in his chair, his voice taking on a firmer tone. I think there's been a misunderstanding here, Joy. Those legal matters have been resolved. The truth came out in court, and I've been vindicated. I'm not sure why you're choosing to relitigate settled issues on live television. Vindicated. Behar's voice rose an octave. Is that what you call it? Because from where I'm sitting, it looks like you've been playing the victim card while a lot of people got hurt along the way. Tsunami host tried to interject. Maybe we could discuss the creative process behind your latest role. But Joy wasn't finished. No, I want to know how you sleep at night, Johnny. How do you look at yourself in the mirror knowing what you've put people through? How do you face your children? The mention of his children hit like a physical blow. Depp's entire demeanor changed, his voice dropping to a dangerously quiet level. Joy, I'm going to stop you right there. My children are completely off limits. They have nothing to do with any of this, and bringing them into this conversation is absolutely unacceptable. Oh, so now you want to set boundaries. Behar pressed on, seemingly oblivious to the warning signs. That's interesting because boundaries don't seem to be your strong suit, do they? Whoopi was frantically trying to signal to the producers while Sarah Haynes looked like she wanted to disappear into her chair. The live audience was completely silent now, watching what was clearly becoming a disaster unfold in real time. Joy, I came here as a guest on your show, Depp said, his voice still controlled, but with an unmistakable edge. I expected to be treated with basic human decency. What you're doing right now isn't journalism. It isn't entertainment. It's just cruel. Cruel. Behar scoffed. You want to talk about cruel? Let's talk about some of the testimony that came out during your trials. Let's talk about the evidence, the recordings, the witnesses. Those cases were decided by juries who heard all the evidence, not just the selective pieces that make good television drama. Depp replied, his patience clearly wearing thin. The truth came out, Joy, whether you choose to acknowledge it or not. But Behar was relentless. The truth. Your version of the truth. Because there seem to be a lot of different versions of the truth when it comes to Johnny Depp, aren't there? The other hosts were now openly uncomfortable with Alyssa Farah-Griffin attempting to change the subject entirely. Johnny, can we talk about your upcoming projects? I know you have some exciting things in development. Actually, you know what? Behar interrupted again, waving her hand dismissively. I think we're dancing around the real issue here. The real question is whether someone with your track record should even be given a platform like this. Whether you should be celebrated and promoted when there are still so many unanswered questions. That was the breaking point. Depp stood up slowly, his chair scraping against the floor in the sudden silence. The cameras kept rolling as he looked directly at Behar, his voice steady but filled with barely contained anger. Joy, I've tried to be respectful here. I've tried to answer your questions, even though they're clearly designed to humiliate rather than inform. but questioning whether I deserve a platform, whether I deserve basic human dignity that crosses every line of professional conduct. Behar remained seated, but her voice got louder. Oh, so now you're the victim again. That's your go-to move, isn't it, Johnny? When things get uncomfortable, when people ask the hard questions, suddenly you're being persecuted. The tension in the studio was now palpable. Camera operators were getting conflicting signals from the control room, unsure whether to keep filming or cut to commercial. The live audience sat in stunned silence, witnessing what was clearly spiraling beyond anyone's control. You know what, Joy? Depp's voice cut through the studio like a blade, every word measured and deliberate. I'm not playing any victim here. I'm a man who came on your show to talk about my work, to connect with people who've supported me through thick and thin, and instead I'm being ambushed by someone who clearly made up her mind about me long before I walked through that door. Behar shot back immediately, her voice dripping with sarcasm. Oh, please spare us the righteous indignation. You think you can just waltz in here with that charming smile and expect everyone to forget? Expect us to pretend like nothing happened? What I expect, Depp replied, his composure hanging by a thread, is basic professionalism. What I expect is to be treated like a human being, not like some carnival attraction you can poke and prod for your audience's entertainment. The other hosts were frozen, caught between wanting to intervene and being afraid to make things worse. Whoopi kept glancing toward the control room, hoping for some kind of divine intervention, while Sunny sat with her hands clasped tightly in her lap. Human being. Behar let out a harsh laugh. That's rich coming from someone who's made a career out of playing pirates and madmen. Maybe you've been pretending to be someone else for so long that you've forgotten how to be real. There it is, Depp said, shaking his head slowly. Now we're attacking my entire career, my life's work. Tell me, Joy, what exactly have I done to deserve this level of hostility? What crime have I committed in your courtroom of public opinion? You really want me to list them? Behar leaned forward, her eyes gleaming with what looked like genuine malice. Because we could be here all day going through the laundry list of accusations, the legal bills, the destroyed relationships, the careers you've damaged along the way. Legal bills. Depp's voice rose for the first time, his famous composure finally cracking. You want to talk about legal bills? Do you have any idea what it cost me to clear my name? Do you know what it's like to have to prove your innocence in a court of law while people like you have already convicted you in the court of public opinion? Sarah Haynes finally found her voice, speaking quietly but firmly. Maybe we should take a step back here and remember that we're live on television. But Joy wasn't backing down. No, Sarah. I think this is exactly where we need to be. This is real talk. This is what journalism looks like when someone actually asks the hard questions instead of lobbing softballs. Journalism. Depp's laugh was bitter and sharp. Is that what you call this character assassination? Because from where I'm standing, this looks more like a public execution disguised as an interview. Oh, don't be so dramatic. Behar waved her hand dismissively. Although, I suppose drama is what you do best, isn't it? The grand gestures, the elaborate performances, the careful image management. Image management. Depp stepped closer to the table, his voice dropping to a dangerous whisper. Joy, if I was managing my image, do you think I'd be standing here letting you tear me apart on live television? Do you think I'd be subjecting myself to this public humiliation if I had any other choice? Maybe that's exactly what you're doing. Behar shot back, completely unfazed by his proximity. Maybe this is all part of the comeback tour, the redemption arc. Poor Johnny Depp, victim of the mean lady. On The View, the studio audience was completely silent now, mesmerized by the train wreck unfolding before them. Some were recording on their phones. Others sat with their mouths literally hanging open, unable to believe what they were witnessing on live daytime television. Whoopi finally found her voice, speaking with the authority of someone who'd been in the business for decades. Joy, I think we need to pump the brakes here. This has gone too far. Has it, Whoopi? Behar turned on her co-host with surprising venom. Or have we finally gotten to the truth? Have we finally stripped away all the Hollywood polish and PR spin to see what's really underneath? What's underneath? Depp said, his voice now deadly calm. Is a man who's been through hell and back, who's fought for his reputation, his family, his career, and his sanity. What's underneath is someone who thought he could come on a daytime talk show and have a normal conversation without being verbally eviscerated. Verbally eviscerated? Behar's voice hit a new pitch. You think this is evisceration? This is just asking questions, Johnny. This is what happens when someone finally holds you accountable instead of treating you like royalty. Accountable for what? Depp's composure finally shattered completely. Accountable for what, Joy? For fighting back when I was falsely accused. For defending myself in court. For not just rolling over and accepting whatever narrative you and people like you wanted to create about me. Alyssa Farah Griffin tried once more to salvage the situation. Perhaps we could focus on the positive aspects of Johnny's career. The impact he's had on cinema. The impact he's had. Behar turned her attention to Alyssa with a look of disbelief. What about the impact he's had on the people around him? What about the collateral damage? Are we just going to pretend that doesn't matter? The only collateral damage I see right now, Depp said, his voice rising again, is whatever's left of professional journalism being destroyed by your personal vendetta against me. The only impact I'm witnessing is a talk show host using her platform to settle some kind of score that exists only in her head. Personal vendetta. Behar stood up now, matching his energy. This isn't personal, Johnny. This is about responsibility. This is about consequences. This is about not letting celebrities hide behind their fame and fortune. When the real world comes calling, the real world came calling, Depp replied, stepping even closer. The real world came in the form of a courtroom with real judges, real juries, real evidence, and real verdicts. The real world vindicated me, Joy. It's only in your twisted version of reality that I'm still on trial. The tension between them was now so thick it seemed to fill the entire studio. The cameras kept rolling, capturing every word, every gesture, every moment of what was clearly becoming television history for all the wrong reasons. Twisted version of reality. Behar's voice cracked with indignation. You want to talk about twisted? Let's talk about the version of reality where you get to play the victim while everyone else pays the price. Let's talk about the version where your truth is the only truth that matters. My truth. Depp's voice exploded across the studio, no longer contained by any pretense of civility. My truth is the only truth that was tested in a court of law. Joy. My truth is the only one that survived cross-examination, expert witnesses, and a jury of my peers. What's your truth based on? Tabloid headlines, social media rumors, your own personal biases. Behar didn't flinch, her voice matching his intensity. My truth is based on patterns, Johnny. Patterns of behavior, patterns of excuses, patterns of everyone else being the problem except for you. That's what I see when I look at your story. Patterns. Depp threw his hands up in exasperation. The only pattern I see is a talk show host who's forgotten the difference between entertainment and assassination. The only pattern here is your relentless need to destroy someone for the sake of ratings. Whoopi stood up abruptly, her chair rolling backward. Okay, that's enough. Both of you, we need to stop this right now. We're live on television. We have an audience and this has crossed every line of professional conduct. No, Whoopi. Joyce snapped, whirling around to face her colleague. Don't you dare try to protect him now. This is exactly what needed to happen. Someone needed to ask these questions. Someone needed to hold him accountable. Accountable to who? Depp demanded, his voice raw with emotion. To you. To your version of justice. Who made you judge and jury, Joy? When did daytime television become a kangaroo court? When celebrities started thinking they were above consequences? Behar fired back. When people like you started believing your own press releases and forgot that actions have repercussions. Sarah Haynes was visibly shaking now, her voice barely audible. Joy, please. This isn't what we do here. This isn't who we are, isn't it, Sarah? Joy's attention turned to her co-host with frightening intensity. Or is this exactly who we should be? Should we just smile and nod while problematic people get platform after platform to rehabilitate their image? Problematic. Depp's laugh was hollow and bitter. There's that word again, the magic word that justifies any level of cruelty, any amount of character assassination. I'm not problematic, Joy. I'm human. I'm flawed. I've made mistakes, but I'm not the monster you're trying to paint me as. Then prove it. Behar challenged, stepping closer to him. Stop hiding behind your legal victories and your PR team. Stop playing the wounded artist and start taking real responsibility for the chaos that follows you everywhere you go. What more do you want from me? Depp's voice cracked with exhaustion and frustration. I went through years of legal hell. I lost roles. I lost friends. I had my reputation dragged through the mud by people who didn't know me. Didn't care about the truth. Just wanted to watch someone fall. What more do you need? I need you to admit that maybe, just maybe, you're not the innocent victim you pretend to be. Joy pressed on relentlessly. I need you to acknowledge that your actions had consequences for other people. Real people with real lives and real pain. And what about my pain, Joy? Depp's voice broke completely now, raw emotion pouring out. What about my children having to see their father destroyed in the media? What about my family, my friends, the people who believed in me and watched helplessly as I was crucified in the court of public opinion? Does that pain not count in your moral calculus? For the first time, Behar seemed to hesitate, but only for a moment. Your pain doesn't erase other people's pain, Johnny. Your suffering doesn't cancel out the suffering you may have caused. May have caused. Depp seized on the words. So now we're dealing in hypotheticals, impossibilities, and may. I thought you were all about facts and accountability. Joy, but it sounds like you're convicting me based on speculation and innuendo. Tsunami host finally found her voice, speaking with the authority of her legal background. Joy, as someone who understands the law, I have to say that relitigating settled legal matters on live television is problematic at best and potentially actionable at worst. Actionable? Behar laughed harshly. Are you threatening me now, Sonny? Is that what this has come to? Anyone who questions the official Johnny Depp narrative gets threatened with legal action. Nobody's threatening anyone, Depp interjected, his voice from the emotional strain. But Son is right. What you're doing here goes beyond journalism, beyond entertainment, beyond any reasonable standard of professional conduct. This is personal, Joy, and everyone in this studio knows it. You're damn right it's personal, Behar exploded, finally dropping all pretense. It's personal because I'm sick of watching powerful men slide by on charm and charisma while everyone else pays the price. It's personal because I've seen too many talented women destroyed while men like you get chance after chance after chance. Men like me. Depp's voice was dangerously quiet again. What exactly does that mean, Joy? What category are you putting me in? What stereotype are you using to justify this ambush? The category of men who think the rules don't apply to them? Joy shot back without hesitation. The category of men who believe they can do whatever they want and then play the victim when consequences finally catch up with them. Alyssa tried one final time to restore order. Can we please remember that millions of people are watching this? Can we think about what message we're sending to our audience? The message we're sending, Joy declared, turning to address the cameras directly, is that nobody is above scrutiny. The message is that fame and fortune don't buy you immunity from tough questions and real accountability. The message you're sending, Depp countered, also turning toward the cameras, is that due process means nothing, that legal vindication is meaningless, that anyone can be destroyed based on accusations and innuendo. If the person doing the destroying has a big enough platform and a loud enough voice, the control room was in chaos now. Producers screaming conflicting orders. Technical staff unsure whether to keep rolling or cut to commercial. But the cameras kept running, capturing every second of what had become a complete meltdown of professional broadcasting standards. Due process, Joy's voice hit its highest pitch yet. You want to talk about due process. What about the due process of the people you hurt? What about their right to be heard, to be believed, to have their truth acknowledged? Their truth was heard, Joy, in a court of law under oath, subject to cross-examination and legal scrutiny. And you know what happened? I was vindicated. The truth came out, and it wasn't the truth you wanted to hear. So now you're trying to relitigate it on daytime television. Vindicated by a legal system that's notoriously biased toward wealthy, powerful men. Joy shot back. Vindicated by a system that's failed countless victims over the years. So now you're attacking the entire legal system. Depp asked incredulously. First it was me, then it was my career. Then it was my character. And now it's the fundamental principles of justice itself. Where does it end, Joy? What won't you tear down to justify your crusade? Whoopi had heard enough. She stepped between them, her voice carrying the full weight of her authority as moderator. It ends now. This ends right now. Johnny, I apologize for what's happened here today. This is not representative of who we are or what this show stands for. Don't you dare apologize for me, Whoopi. Joy snapped. I'm not sorry for asking hard questions. I'm not sorry for refusing to participate in this rehabilitation tour. This isn't about rehabilitation, Joy, Depp said wearily, the fight finally going out of his voice. This was supposed to be about connection, about sharing something I'm passionate about with people who might enjoy it. Instead, it became a public execution disguised as an interview. If you can't handle tough questions, maybe you shouldn't be doing interviews, Joy replied coldly. Maybe you should stick to playing dress up and pretending to be other people, since reality seems to be too much for you to handle. That final insult hung in the air like a toxic cloud. Depp looked at Joy for a long moment, then shook his head slowly. You know what, Joy. I actually feel sorry for you. I feel sorry for someone who's become so consumed with hatred that they can't see the human being standing in front of them. I feel sorry for someone who's forgotten that behind every celebrity, every public figure, every person in the spotlight, there's a real human being with real feelings and real pain. He turned toward the audience, his voice soft, but carrying clearly through the stunned silence. I came here today hoping to connect with people, to share something I love with folks who might appreciate it. Instead, I got ambushed by someone who's more interested in destruction than dialogue, more focused on tearing people down than building anything up. Looking back at Joy one final time, he added, I hope someday you find whatever it is you're really looking for, because it's clearly not truth and it's certainly not justice. It's just cruelty dressed up as righteousness. With that, Johnny Depp walked off the set of The View, leaving behind a studio full of shocked faces, a host who had finally gone too far and millions of viewers who had just witnessed one of the most uncomfortable moments in daytime television history. The cameras finally cut to commercial, but the damage was already done. Social media was already exploding with reactions. Clips were being shared and reshared, and the question on everyone's mind was the same one that would dominate headlines for weeks to come. How had a simple promotional interview turned into such a spectacular disaster? What did you think of this explosive confrontation? Have you ever seen anything like this on daytime television? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, and make sure to subscribe for more behind-the-scenes stories from Hollywood that you won't see anywhere.